Okay. All right. On I, we've got a cosine squared and a sine squared, but it's not a Pythagorean identity at all that you would want to even use. I think we just go ahead and think of. Now it's interesting, like on her key, she's not rewriting these this way, but I really like to do it. So this is the cosine of 4x, all right, squared, right? That's what that means. And so I think it's always nice to kind of have that as a reminder. And this is the sine of 4x squared. All right, so on both of those, we have three functions going on. And so we'll just do them separately and just see what happens. Okay, so then taking the derivative then, we'll just do them separately. So g prime of x is going to equal, all right, 2, then I have cosine 4x to the first power, and then a chain rule, right? Sorry. Okay, so it was cosine 4x to the first power. All right, so all I've done is the exponent, and then the chain rule here. The derivative of cosine is negative sine. Copy 4x. Okay, and then the derivative of 4x is 4. All right, we'll deal with all that in a second. Minus, all right, same game, 2, and then copy the sine 4x to the first power. Kind of silly to write the 1. Chain rule. Derivative of sine is cosine. And the derivative of 4x is 4. Okay. Okay, so some of this cleans up. I've got 8s in both places. I have, this is the same thing. We have the same thing. This is, okay, all right, here we go. So this is negative 8 cosine 4x negative, and then sine 4x. And this is minus 8 of the exact same thing. Oh, okay. So that's negative 8 minus 8. And everything's exactly the same. Sine 4x, cosine 4x, that's negative 16. Negative 16 cosine 4x, sine 4x. They're like terms. And they're the weirdest like terms ever, but both of these terms have a sine 4x cosine x, a sine 4x cosine 4x. I just need to find out how many of those there are. So all I did was say so many of the sine 4x cosine 4x's. All right. So let me make sure I did that right. Negative 8 there, minus 8. Yeah, negative 16 of them. All right, cool. Okay, so on this one, again, I kind of like rewriting just to remind myself of what's going on. So this would be sine x squared. You won't see this in her notes, but I really like rewriting it that way, so we're always reminded. All right, it's product rule. Okay, so I'm going to go first times derivative of the second plus second times derivative of the first. So y prime is going to equal first, and here's the chain rule part. Derivative of the second is 2 sine x. I want to the first power. Derivative of sine x, cosine x. Okay, plus, and don't forget this, we got the second half. We've only done first time derivative of the second. The second is going to be sine x squared, and then the derivative of the first, which is 4x cubed. And there's always some factoring we can do here, so let's go ahead and do that. I can factor out definitely a 2x cubed and also a sine x. So I'm going to factor out a 2x cubed, and both of those terms, separated by that addition, also have a sine x. All right, and what does that leave me with? All right, well, that leaves me with, in this case, I have an x and I have a cosine x. All right, on the second term, we're left with the sine that I didn't deal with and a 4. So 4, because I took out 2, they only had 2 in common, and an additional sine, S-I-N-E. I like that. We need to try to factor them as much as we can, okay? Because later on we're going to be using these things, and so we need to be able to set them equal to something and go, okay? So let's go ahead and factor as much as we can. Okay. All right. Oh, this one's cool. The next two are pretty quick. I and J took up some time there, but this one's fine. So this is going to be H prime. We have a natural log inside a natural log. Okay. So H prime of X. This doesn't have any of the cancellation effect that we saw before with the a logarithm rule. There's not really a logarithm rule for this. So it's going to be the outside natural log is 1 over, and I'm going to copy this as the inside part. So I copy that, and then I do chain rule with the derivative of the natural log is 1 over. And so we're done. So this is 1 over x natural log of x. Weird. All right, and then here we have an e. Oh, no, we've got a pi times x inside an e, which is inside a sine. All right, so first thing we're going to take care of is the sine. So f prime of x will be derivative of sine is cosine. All right, and then you copy e to the pi x. Okay, and then the derivative of e to the pi x is copy the entire thing because the e derivative of e is e. And then the final chain rule, we haven't taken the derivative of the pi x yet, have we? And that's the most inner thing, and that's just going to be pi. Not much we could do. Maybe put the pi up front. I'm just going to rearrange it. Just, I don't know. Pi, this is unnecessary. E to the pi x, and then put the cosine at the end. How does that sound for you? All right. So we'll go I through L on that video.